I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. Why do you feel engagement is important? Because we've been hearing a lot of the other side where they say, well, engaging is not really important. It's something you should probably not waste time on. It's not going to help you make money in your business, so don't focus on it. So I would love for you to approach that question of why is engagement important?
So years ago when I started posting, and I remember posting and then being like, what now? Like, what am I going to do after this point? Like, I posted now, I didn't have a whole lot to do in my business. So I started engaging, and the first thing that I picked up on, the first thing that really registered with me when engaging was how much I was comprehending and learning. So number one, I want to talk about how much you learn when you engage. When you read a post, if you're just skimming through and scanning through and you're reading posts and you're just kind of flipping, you're not really retaining that well. But when you put it into your brain that you have to comment, that you have to leave some sort of conversational comment on the post, not just great post, but something that shows that you've read the post, that you are working to understand it, or that you understand it, and then posting that comment, you're retaining the information and you're learning. That's how I learned so much from the beginning. So that was the first benefit that I saw out of engagement. Number two, the growth. If you are not getting into neighborhoods where your ideal audience is hanging out, then you're not getting seen. This is not a billboard on the side of the highway. This is social media. And if you're not engaging, then you're kind of like that mom and pop shop little store in an alleyway on the back end of a building, like hidden and tucked away to where nobody can see you. But if you engage, then it's like you're walking out onto a busy street. When you engage with larger industry leaders, it's like you're walking out on the busy street and saying, hey, I'm here and I have thoughts and opinions and I have experience and these are them. And you just put them out there for people. Then they're more likely to see you, come check out your account, see what you're all about, and click that follow button. So it's huge for growth. And then I was laughing when you said, because I hear it too, there's no money in engagement. Okay, so we buy from people that we know, like, and trust. If we're not having conversations with people, how are we building know, like, and trust? So I'm not saying to jump in people's DMs. I'm not saying, like right away and be spammy and salesy and all that ick stuff. But conversations are how we build know, like, and trust. We didn't start relationships with boyfriends and girlfriends and marriages and best friends by not having conversations with them. That's how we get to know people. That's how people get to know us. So if we want to sell, have conversations to sell.
That's right. That's right. Wow. Yeah, you mentioned the dark alley. I said, oh no, not the dark alley, but you're right about it. It's sort of like you're not increasing your own visibility. You're not meeting new people, and some people are shy, they're a little afraid, but I think once you start doing it, you start connecting with different people and you feel so much better about it. And I agree with everything that you said too about engaging. And as far as like, why is engagement important to me? Well, I mean, you and I have had so many great conversations and I've connected with so many people. And Liz wrote a comment in here. Yes, authentic engagement means you need to actually read and digest what people are saying. And I agree, because the more I was able to digest, I actually was learning things as I went along about other people and how they approach things. And I feel like we can all learn from each other. It helps me to be open-minded and make those genuine connections. I cannot tell you how many times I've engaged with someone's post, or I was like, wow, I really love this post, and I share with them exactly what I liked about it or what I took away from the post. And then me acquiring that knowledge on my end, then I was able to implement some of these things as well. So I feel like it's not only us learning from other people, but also we build that connection, that relationship. And you had mentioned trust, because that's so key. I don't believe in buying from someone I don't trust, whether it's a brand, whether it is a, whatever it is, from products to services. I don't want to hire someone who I don't personally trust. I've left comments, by the way, on people's pages, even asking one time about someone's course, and that person like never replied. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not doing this. I guess I'm.
Oh no, that's awful.
It's really bad. And you have to reply to not only your comments and DMs, like that sort of engagement, but engaging with other people, because then they feel like, wow, this person cares. And I think it should always be genuine and authentic. I don't think you should ever have to feel like you have to be fake or inauthentic or not be yourself, or say, yeah, thumbs up, great post. Like, no, you don't have to do that. I think it's what's way more meaningful is to say what connected with you. What did you connect with? Why did this post stand out to you today? Even if it's just one major point, it helps, to be able to do that, because now you're building this connection, this community, the relationships, bonds I formed with people. It's just unbreakable. And as someone who started off just as a solopreneur with like no team, we need that support. Being the lone wolf is not always fun, so to have other like-minded people who get it, who are like, I get what you're going through, I'm in this too. In one of my comments, I was talking about High School Musical, how they're like, we're all in this together. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. We're all in this together, right? So we may as well have fun doing it. And I have so much fun leaving comments, laughing with people, having inside jokes. I mean, business should be fun. I always talk about that. If you're not having fun or intentionally incorporating fun into your business, you're doing it wrong. It leads to burnout. It leads to stress. You end up like, yeah, I don't see the point of even showing up anymore. I quit. And it's sad to see so many people who have built their accounts, leave and say, I don't really think this is for me anymore. So, that breaks my heart to know that. And I feel like when you show up and you have intention, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to support my other entrepreneur friends on here. Like, I get excited about that, And so even in the reel that we posted, it's sort of like going to that networking event. And it's like, okay, so I'll sit in the corner and see what happens. Like, this is your virtual networking event. Every time you show up, you get the opportunity to network with other people and connect with them. And without intention, because sometimes you just never know what it'll lead to. Some people have referred me to other people. I've done lives with people and they met me through that person's live. Then they hired me as a coach. One of my clients even told me, like, I hired you because I saw your comment section was lit. And I was like, oh, really? Cool. It does impact your business. It does impact your loyalty as well, having that brand loyalty. So that's my answer.
Absolutely. I love that. So you take the next question first. What is the difference between building a following and building a community?
Oh, yeah, I like this one. Building a following is, growing your account. So you're getting more visibility, you're increasing your brand awareness, you're becoming exposed to more people. So it is good to build your following, by the way. There's nothing wrong with growing your account. And I think that should be our goal, to continue to grow and get in front of more faces and new people so we can serve even more people. However, the difference now is building community is different, because now you're not just showing up and you're like, okay, I'm bringing in all these people. Now you're more intentional about connecting with these people. And it's all about relationship building and building that trust with them and connecting. And I think that has been such a game changer for me personally. I've grown a lot just from hearing other people share some of their thoughts. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even think of it that way. Thank you for sharing that, or even sharing another perspective. So it's been beautiful seeing the difference between just growing my account, which was my initial goal in the beginning, and then building those relationships in that community. Completely different. What about you? How would you answer that question?
So I see building a following as almost more like, if you are just focused on building a following, that's the direction I'll go. If you are just focused on building a following, then I see that more as an influencer type mentality of, you want to work with brands, you want brands to pay you, you are not necessarily interested in making those connections with people because you don't need them to make money. You're working with brands. You don't need necessarily people. Brands are your people. So, sort of. So, and then, but if you are a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, who is trying to build a business to sell products or services to people, then I think that the focus needs to be more on community. The relationships that you are building today are that's the income that you're going to have tomorrow. That is the opportunity that you're going to have tomorrow. That is all the chances down the road that you're going to have, to grow your actual business. If you are an entrepreneur or a solopreneur running, selling a service or a product on the platform. Community means everything. I mean, just like you were talking about, we get referrals. I've had people refer other, clients to me. I've referred out clients. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. So I'm sure you do the same thing where you're like, I don't know how to do that, but hey, I got a girl over here that does.
All the time. I was like, I don't do that, but I know someone who does.
And they're really nice. I talk to them all the time. So you're in good hands. We are not here to know everything. And I think that shows authority. That shows that we are honest and that we are good business owners, is to not say that we know everything, to say, hey, I don't know. But because I've built a community, I have somebody who can. I have somebody who I trust to help you, and that I'm willing to put my name out there for and say, hey, Lindsay's awesome. So here you go. You can work with her. So that is the difference to me between a following and a community. Again, like you said, neither is bad. It is your intention at the end of the day that you need to be looking at for knowing what to build for yourself.
That's right. Yeah. And I think operating from a place of integrity is so important. So I'm glad you had mentioned that as well. Like, the relationship piece of it is operating, of course, from a place of integrity. It's not like, okay, let me comment on this post so I can sell them later in like 2 weeks. Like, you know what I mean? The agendas, like, it's coming from a place of integrity and saying, I want to build these genuine relationships and build this community of people. It reminds me of the quote, it takes a village, right? So it's like, this person's bringing the water, this one's got the fish, this one's got that, this one's helping with the kids. It takes a village sometimes in order to really have the success you want to have. And I think for a lot of businesses out, business owners who are out there feeling kind of like, oh, I feel alone in this. I feel like, I'm trying to do all these things and I'm wearing all the hats. And, there are other people who feel the exact same way as you do. So be intentional about connecting with other people and taking time out of your schedule to do that. And you can break it up. It's not like you have to do it all in one sitting. You can do it the way you want to do it. But very important to incorporate that. And reciprocity, like reciprocating when someone's showing love on your post. It's cool to go in and see, well, who is this person who's been showing love on my post? I want to see who this person is. What content do they post? What do they do? Who do they help? One person I found out was like in the same state as me. And I'm like, wait, what? This whole time I didn't even know you were here. It's funny, connecting with people from all over the world, and all different walks of life. There's so much we can all learn from each other. So I love it.
Absolutely. I love that. Awesome. Do you want to go on to the next question? Well, I was thinking about something when you were talking about that. No, I'll circle back to it. Do we want to go to the next? Do we want to go to the next question?
Yeah, and I figured we would also talk about maybe at the end some do's and don'ts, maybe from each side, because some people probably wonder about that. Some do's and don'ts of engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next question, how does a community benefit a business? You want to go first or me?
Ooh, okay. I'll take it. Sure. I would say that community benefits a business in like several ways. I don't even know where to begin, but I'll start with, those connections where people feel seen and heard. It's really interesting because I used to go live and I didn't have like a lot of people in my community at the time, but I was going live consistently and someone was like, I'm in, I want to work with you. I don't even know what you do, but I want to work with you. My messaging wasn't super clear back then, but yeah. So I was like, okay, great. And I said, well, what made you want to, hire me and everything? And they said, you always reply to me. You always respond to me. I feel that you're very genuine in what you do. And I want to be a part of this because I know that it could help me in some way. So again, it's building that trust with someone. And I think that when you're engaging and you're building this community of people, it leads to sales naturally. Whether someone refers you, whether someone's checking out your comment section, like, okay, they really trust you to be sharing all this, you know? My client, Coach Eb, shout out to her, former client of mine. She actually was like, I saw your comments and I was like, how do people just trust you like this to be sharing? I'm like, I need to hire her. So it builds that. It's like, you're leaving your little business card everywhere that you go. And so it represents your brand in so many different ways. So I think, how does community building help your business? It helps you not only to connect with people, whether that leads to referral sales, a lifelong friend, whatever the case is. The beautiful thing about it is knowing that, my business is built with integrity. It's not based on, I just have to push more and more and just talk more and more about my offer, or push things more in front of people's face. I just have to keep pushing and pushing. Now it becomes, I'm connecting with different people, and people are naturally gravitating toward me because of my energy, because of who I am, because of my personality. And I've showed that in my comments, who I am. And I like to be a little silly, a little funny, also, maybe be sarcastic. I have all these different parts of my personality. And then I have my serious side where I'm like, yes. And then I'm focused because I'm kind of a nerd and I love to read anyway. So it's just like, people feel so blessed that they're like, wow, you took the time to read my caption. Like, thank you for that. And I think we all need that person supporting in our corner. It has done wonders for my business on and off Instagram. So what about you? How would you answer that question?
So all the same things, of course, I agree with everything. I think that I would add that it brings the fun to our business. It brings, we're doing this. I mean, you and I'm sure, are sitting in a room by ourselves with a camera in front of us, feeling silly at first when we first start this until we actually start talking to each other. And that's the way business or being a solopreneur is when you work from home. It's lonely and it's awkward at first until you start building those relationships and building those friendships. Liz, you and I are both friends with Liz. She lost her account and we had a conversation after she hopped back on. She messaged me, and one of the first things that she said was, because I said, I'm so glad that you didn't give up. And she was like, it was hard, but I couldn't because I missed you guys. And it's so true that that's the way it is when you're not on. When you've built a community and you are not on for a while, like when my husband had his triple bypass, I wasn't able to be on for a couple weeks. I missed you guys. Like I felt like when I came back on, I was like, hey, Lindsay, how's it going? Hey, everybody, we become friends, and that makes it where you can't give up, where you won't give up, where even on those days when you're like, oh, I'm so tired, or I don't know if I can do this today, then you just start engaging or start looking at content and you're like, yeah, I can do this. I can pick this up and I can keep going, because it helps lift you up. It puts the fun back into your business to have these relationships and these conversations with people. So that's the only thing I think that I would add to what you said, because you pretty much touched on everything. And I knew we were going to do that, where you and I agree with so much that I was like, we're just going to be like, yeah, ditto what she said.
What you said, yeah.